This episode with Kim Galatly was such a critical one for the foundation of any good sales business, and it's all about client care. I want you to ask yourself this question as you listen to this episode. These following questions, actually. Number one, what can I do better when I take care of my clients during the transaction? Kim's going to give you some great insight. Number two, what can I do to take care of my clients at a higher level outside of the transaction? Again, she's got some great insight. And question number three is, what can I be doing during even a global pandemic to serve people, take care of concerns that normally wouldn't even necessarily cross my mind to take care of, but now seem totally natural and appropriate, and to which my clients are super grateful. These questions will be answered by Kim. It's going to give you some great ideas on how you can be moving your client care to the next level. Enjoy. Welcome back to the Think Big in Real Estate Show. I'm your host, Justin Stoddart. Very excited about today's episode. We're going to answer the question of how do I best take care of my clients, both during a transaction, outside of a transaction, as well as during a global pandemic. All those questions are going to be answered. And I have with me today a very dear friend of mine, somebody who's been the most amazing producer. And even more important than that, the way she takes care of her clients, I've been kind of a witness to that, seen kind of on the backside of what she does to take care of people. And it's phenomenal. And I'm so excited to have her here today. Her name is Kim Galatly. She sold 180 transactions. She had a very small team over the past 2 years. And you wouldn't think so. Like, in fact, I think her clients maybe think that they're her only client because she just pours so much value into them. Yet even with that, she just does incredible amounts of business, just serves a lot of people, a lot of families in any given year. So with that being said, Kim Galatly, thank you so much for coming on the show today. It's such a pleasure to have you here.
Oh, thank you, Justin. Thanks so much. I've been excited and honored to talk with you. And honestly, thank you for an excuse to blow dry my hair and put lipstick on and real clothes on.
It's a really interesting time how, you hear all the jokes about people like, I only have to get dressed from the waist up and like, or my hygiene is this. And it's pretty funny to hear people's stories about that. And yeah, the excuses. And in fact, one of my favorites was my wife. She said, she read something. She said, the sad part about like a global pandemic, I realized my life isn't that much different in quarantine than it is outside.
Totally.
Like I don't have that exciting of a life.
Oh, no, it's not. No, she does. She's taking care of wonderful, wonderful babies. But I have to tell you a funny story. I went to go get gas today and I was feeling great. I was like, I got out of the sweats. I got into good clothes. And the gas station attendant walked up to the car and he said, thank you so much for all you're doing right now. And I looked at him, I'm like, all I'm doing? And he said, well, yes, you're wearing scrubs. Aren't you a nurse? And I went, it's my shirt. Like, this is just my shirt.
It's my house. I'm going to work. I got dressed up for you. And you're saying I'm in my scrubs.
A little bit of humble pie. Obviously, I wasn't motivated enough to change.
I love it. So fun. So for those that don't know you, Kim, tell us a little bit about how long you've been in the business. Obviously, you're a Berkshire Hathaway agent, have done just a great deal there. Maybe how long have you been in the business, and kind of what's your favorite part about being a real estate agent before we get into today's topic?
Absolutely. So this is my 16th year. I have been with Berkshire Hathaway for almost 11 of those years. So when it was Prudential, and then when Berkshire Hathaway purchased the company too. And I'm so thankful. I got my license right after college, went to George Fox University, graduated in May, got my license in September of that year, and just got right on the horse and trying to be a realtor starting at age 22. Wow. And don't do the math, but now 16 years in, what I love the most about it, I mean, truly, I think especially in this time, it's just knowing so clearly how much our clients need us and depend on us, and they need an expert. They need someone who cares and who's also very knowledgeable. And I love that. I love that I want to be that trusted person that my clients can lean on. So I would say, as hard as it is, and sometimes delivering challenging news right now, it's also wonderful to just know that, you're working your hardest for your people.
Yeah. No, I think that I agree with you that during hard times, it's always hard to see people going through, difficulty, yet it also gives new purpose and new meaning, that if these people don't have added leadership, added guidance, that it's like they're going to have some real, consequences they're going to follow. So I agree with you. And I thank you as well. Not just for wearing scrubs. I'm just kidding. But no, but for your service. I think a lot of real estate agents have been afraid to kind of like touch real estate or talk real estate right now. Whereas that'd be kind of like a firefighter saying like, that house is on fire. I don't want to go in. Like, I can't, it's on fire, right? It's like, no, that's your job, right?
Yeah,
Is
absolutely.
to go in and help people when there's a fire. And for a real estate agent at this time right now, it's now you're needed more than ever. Don't hide, don't shirk now. Like, your clients need you now.
It's so true. And I feel like I've been so in awe, and not just realtors, but how many business owners pivoted very quickly. I mean, I feel like when the shelter in place mandate came out and it was going to come into effect in a few days, I was so, just excited and in awe of realtors, restaurant owners, businesses in general who pivoted very quickly and said, okay, this is what we're going to do. I'll be humbly honest with you. I mean, I am naturally an introvert and I don't like change. And so I feel like it took me a couple weeks. I mean, I'm just being super honest with you. Like, I don't feel like I pivoted quickly, but I feel like I did have just this come to Jesus moment where I'm like, I need to be a leader in this. I need to get out of my comfort zone. People are depending on me. And so I do think it took me a couple of weeks, not to touch base and be the leader for my clients that I'm used to doing, but to be a leader more just in the industry in general. And so I feel like I'm finally like getting on it. So I only tell people who are watching this, like, don't be discouraged. If you feel like, we're in week 5 and you're going, it's never too late to just start being that industry leader in real estate.
I love that, Kim. There's definitely a kind of new meaning given to this term that I've adopted and absolutely love, which is sales at its highest form is leadership. Sometimes like a sales position is looked down upon in a society. And I think people that do it really well, like yourself, that really come in with a servant's heart and say, look, I'm going to give, I'm going to pour into people. I'm going to lead them. That's really where sales is, again, at its purest form, is when you're really leading people. You have expert knowledge about them. You have expert knowledge about, the subject matter, meaning real estate, and you use that together to help them get from where they are to, to where they want to be. And so thank you for what you do there. Let's get into client care. Let's talk about client care during a transaction. Again, this is just normal times, maybe outside of a pandemic, right? I know that I've had you at Top Agent Masterminds when you shared a really impressive cadence of how frequently you are in contact with your clients, even with the amount of transactions that you do. Would you mind sharing that, and even maybe kind of the why behind why you touch base with your current active clients as much as you do?
Absolutely. I mean, I'll be honest, this is my passion. This is my excitement, is client care. I mean, that's what I love, is once I have built a relationship, when a buyer or a seller has agreed to work with me, they're my baby. I mean, they're who I'm going to take care of. And to a point of every client, when we're in a transaction, whether it be a buyer or a seller, my goal, I reach out to them 6 out of 7 days a week. I know it seems overkill. I try to take Sundays off, but every single person, and I should say not just current buyers and sellers, but also I'm not high tech. I mean, I have lists of upcoming sellers who's going to be hitting the market because maybe they haven't signed a listing agreement yet. Upcoming buyers, they're not in a transaction yet, but we're actively searching for them. And then, of course, the current pending sales for buyers and sellers. So the goal is reaching out to them 6 out of 7 days a week. And you would be so surprised at how many times you reach out to someone because you care, and they had a question, but it didn't, in their mind, it didn't seem big enough to, quote unquote, warrant them contacting me. But when I'm the first one to reach out to them, even just to say, hey, I know the appraisal hasn't been turned in yet, it's going to be due at this date, you'd be shocked how many times that they respond and go, that's great. Oh, and by the way, I've been thinking about this, but didn't want to bother you. So I would just highly encourage every agent, reach out to your client database, not just upcoming people, but people you're in a transaction with, especially right now. They want to hear from you. They want to know who that leader is that they've hired.
Yeah. So good. I think I learned this as a high-end home builder, Kim, is that if I wasn't reaching out on a regular basis, my clients just assumed that I wasn't doing any work on their project. And so
That's
they
correct.
began trying to like grab the wheel, and, bless their hearts, that's what they were concerned. They're spending, $1 million+ on a home, and they wanted to be sure that work was moving forward. And now work was, but if I didn't communicate that, it's as if they didn't. And I love how you said it, is that people have questions that maybe don't register as sufficient enough to call you, right? But when you open the space to just have a conversation, to give an update that might be like, hey, there's no updates. I don't have any updates for you. I just wanted to check in, right? It gives them the freedom to take stuff out of their subconscious mind or stuff out of their conscious mind. It's just, it's a question. It's a curiosity. It's causing them a little bit of uncertainty, and you're taking that out of their mind. You're freeing them up to be like, oh my goodness, my realtor is on it. I don't have to be on it because they're on it, right?
So true. And just committing to being that leader where you're constantly looking ahead. So, a lot of times buyers and sellers, they don't do this day in and out. They don't know what the next step is. And so, of course, sending that transaction timeline in the beginning, but, our buyers and sellers are busy, they scan it once and then they go, I don't know what's next. And so it's our job with each interaction to say, okay, this is the next step. We just have photos. This is the next step. We just had the inspection. How long will it be until I hear from the buyers on their requests? Just questions like that. We have to constantly be telling them this is the very next step instead of 3 steps from now.
Yeah, no, I love that. And that cadence of daily contact. I know a lot of agents that even don't do near the business as you do. They're like, oh my goodness, isn't that bothering them? Isn't that too much? Like, don't they just want to be like, I don't know what I'd say that frequently, but I love how you put it here, is that there's always something. Right?
Sometimes I think it's too much, but then my clients, they love it. Like I never hear a negative thing. They're like, Kim, I'm so thankful that you're, and I truly, I feel like I do it out of a heart of caring. It's definitely something where I want them to feel well taken care of. And I want them to know that they're on my heart and that I want to see us to that next step. So every once in a while, a client might say, hey, you're awesome. Just take the baton and run with it. But most people, I think, are more like me, and we like to have some feeling of control. And so we want to know, what's going on today?
So what's the process for that? Do you have like a pattern, like you get up first thing in the morning and you say, okay, who are all my active buyers and sellers? And you just send them a quick email, like it kind of help maybe agents that are watching this saying, man, that is a higher level of client care than I'm used to. I'd like to do that, but I don't know how to organize around that. What does that look like?
Well, let me pull the curtain back on the Wizard of Oz. It is not fancy. It is not fancy at all. So I'm a morning person. I tend to go to bed pretty early and I get up early. My alarm's set up six days a week for 5 o'clock. Now, do I get up at 5 o'clock? No, I probably get up around 5:30. But 5:30 until 7:30 when my daughter wakes up. I mean, that's go time for me, especially right now during COVID, because that's time of focused work, where I'm not in front of a computer and my daughter's seeing me on a computer all the time. And so 5:30 to 7:30 until she wakes up, I have a list of, I have separate lists. So I have separate lists for my upcoming sellers, my upcoming buyers, my weekly to-do list that I look every night and then I check again every morning, and then my pending buyers and sellers. So it's literally just going through each one. Okay, where are we at? What's next? Usually shooting them an email because I don't want to text them or call them that early in the morning, obviously. And that way I just feel like I'm ahead of the game. By the time 8 a.m. rolls around and people are, getting to work or working from home, I feel like I've started and I'm kind of ahead of the game, and it helps me to feel less stress and less pressure and just feel like I'm being proactive with my client.
It's so great. There's such a great takeaway, Kim. I appreciate you sharing that. Let's get into kind of the next phase, which is how do you take care of your clients when they're outside of transaction? Now, I want to make a distinction here because I know oftentimes real estate agents tend to see themselves as having a group of past clients. And I think really great agents like you, they don't necessarily see it that way. Now, you might still call them that, but you don't see it that way in the sense that you continue to take care of them long after the transaction's done, right? They continue to be clients. not past clients as if like I'm not going to see or talk to them again. Like I continue to service them. At some point, they'll need you again, right? And at some point, yeah, and at some point in the even more near future, they'll probably have friends and family around them that are going to want somebody who takes as good of care of them as you've taken care of them. So obviously, this benefits all parties. But again, I love it when a real estate agent kind of comes to the conclusion of like, I don't actually have past clients. I just have clients, right? And I see that's
that.
and I see
That's a
that's
wonderful way to think of it.
and I see that's how you really treat your clients. I'm again kind of privy to see some of the things that you do for clients. Let's talk a little bit about what that looks like for you. What do you do again when people are not active buyers and sellers? What are you still doing to lead them and to serve them?
Absolutely. So first and foremost, I mean, real estate related, I think, definitely keeping in contact with every person on a monthly investment profile of their current property, but realizing, when someone's out of a transaction, the amount of time that they're thinking about real estate is very minor in comparison to when they're in the transaction. So I definitely have real estate related monthly email, a monthly postcard, monthly professional video. I started doing that about 3 years ago. For any of you agents who haven't yet done that, that was one of the best decisions I made. It's a little bit pricey, I'll be honest with you. It's probably about $300 per month for a professional video, but it's made such a difference. It's well worth it. So being real estate related, but then not real estate related, especially now, I'm thinking, okay, most people aren't thinking about real estate, but what are they thinking about? They're thinking about, first of all, stress. There's a lot of stress going on. So I've been embracing Facebook Live. I brought my sister-in-law, who's a naturopath, onto Facebook Live. She did a great session for my clients on just top 3 easy ways to relieve stress naturally. And that was wonderful. And then I brought, what else are my clients thinking about? They're thinking about the global economy, maybe not necessarily their individual home, but the global economy. So I brought on my financial planner, and he gave a great talk about what to do to help, what you would do to invest in a downturn, in a downturn market. And that was great. So I'm just always wanting to give real estate information, but greater than that is what's important to people right now. And honestly, I don't necessarily think real estate to most people is that important to them. There are other things that are much more important and in their face right now.
That's so good, Kim, because it really, taking a look at if my job is to take care of my clients and to lead my clients, I love how you said that is I'm not only going to take care of the things that I do for a living, right? That I can, and I think that's maybe how sometimes when people get sales and kind of service-based industries wrong is it's like, well, do I make money on that or not? No, I don't. So I'm not going to do it. Right. And it's like when people have kind of a higher vision of like, I'm going to serve and lead people, some of the stuff I'm going to serve and help them with is going to be within my profession that I charge for. Other stuff is just going to be concerns that they have. And I know that if I take care of people at a high level, it's going to come back and benefit me. And it also kind of, leads to the life and the person that you want to be, right? Is that you're kind of serving people at a higher level. Mm-hmm. Let's talk a little bit about kind of during the pandemic, right? Now, and I think these two kind of fit nicely together because right now people have different concerns than they've ever had. And you just shared with us is that client care for you is like, sure, some real estate, but also what else are they concerned about? What else are they interested in right now? And right now people have different interests and concerns than maybe they've had ever before, right? Case in point, right? The naturopath, helping people stay healthy, right? During this time, the financial advisor, teaching people how to get back on top when they maybe taking a 30% haircut with their stocks, right? Like this is super relevant stuff that has nothing to do with real estate. But again, you've taken it because it's relevant now. You've brought it into them. So what are some other ways that you're taking care of people in a global pandemic?
I feel like, also just light-hearted, positive interaction. On Facebook, I did a contest where each of my active listings, I put them up there and I said, whoever shares this, they're entered into a Grubhub gift card contest. And I mean, who doesn't want dinner delivered right now and not have to cook for the 37 millionth time? And that was fun. And it also was a way that I could go then to my sellers and tell them, hey, this is some creative marketing that we're trying to do to get your listing out more. Definitely the Facebook Live has been great and it's entertaining as well as informational for my clients. And then on top of that, one thing that I'm doing, and I haven't finalized it yet, I'm actually finalizing it today, is next Thursday, I'm giving away free homemade lasagnas by a local restaurant. And so what my clients will do is they'll just RSVP reserve a free lasagna from a wonderful restaurant that's local in the area. And then I'll be curbside next Thursday with a mask on, and they'll pull up and I'll give them their free lasagna and free dinner for the night. Because a lot of people, they're tired. I mean, so many people they're homeschooling, they're working, they're sick of cooking, and I can relate. And so I'm super excited about that. I think that'll be a fun way to help my clients during this time and also support a great restaurant I really, really love.
So great, Kim. Boy, do you think about that? Again, my wife's homeschooling 5 kids, and the 6th is a crazy 2-year-old, right? And so like giving people that offer. Now, could they go get their own lasagna? Sure, right? But the fact that somebody has offered it to them, it's just such a gift, right? It's just such an extension of care. Again, it has nothing to do with real estate, right? You're not in the lasagna business, right? You're in the client care business, right? Yeah, yet, right? You might have a new passion after this next Thursday. But again, I think, and I want to highlight this to everybody that's listening, is that once you kind of take off the fact, kind of the profiteer hat, right? Which is like, okay, what do I need to do to like run my numbers up and get to a certain point? It's more about like, how can I take care of people at a deeper level? That's where I think a business like yours really flourishes, Kim, where you have these deep relationships where people know that they've got your back during the transaction. They know that you've got their back outside of a transaction, right? And that you're truly their advocate, not there for you, but for them. I think it's such a powerful place to be. And I think it's a great, you're a great role model in that regard to a lot of agents who I think can collectively help kind of raise the bar on what people expect from a real estate agent, right? It's where people don't even consider looking at technology to replace a real estate agent because the value is so high across so many different areas, from their agent. So it's really great.
I think sometimes, I'll be honest with you, I feel like sometimes I'm the worst salesperson because I'm not very salesy, but I think that's actually been a strength because I don't think people, when they talk to me, they don't feel like I'm trying to sell them something. Hopefully my heart is that they hear that I care and that I feel that I have knowledge and I want to support them. And I think that ends up being a strength. Everybody wants to buy, but nobody wants to be sold anything. And so it's just coming with that heart of a teacher and a heart of just wanting to help them.
Yeah, that's really powerful way to live, right? When you can kind of get your head around that. My signature question of the show that I ask people, Kim, I'm gonna phrase it a little bit differently for you because I think you have,
thank you.
Well, because you have, I think the ability to help a lot of people who maybe are like you. I know you've disclosed to me, like, Justin, I'm extremely introverted. Like, I'm not like in like the thought of like cold calling, like the thought of all of that just totally like makes me start to sweat. Right. And I think there's a lot of people that feel like if I'm going to have a professional like sales business, that I need to be extremely extroverted. I need to be the one out at social in the social scene all the time and networking with everybody. And that's never been that's not your favorite place to be, right? That's not where you thrive.
Oh.
So, maybe continue, and you've kind of already started on this path, but for other people that are like you, that are introverts, that maybe don't love kind of the whole social scene, that's not how they want to go about getting their business. How do you help them kind of think bigger and realize that there's a big future, whether it be in real estate or anything else that they're doing, even for those people that aren't, kind of the social butterflies of a crowd?
Absolutely. No, I feel like, my favorite way to spend an evening would, not be going to a networking event, but, and I think most people are like this too, even extroverts where, we want to be home with our family. I want to be with my husband. I want to be with my daughter. She's not going to be 5 for very much longer. I think you can still be a very strong agent. Whether you're an introvert or an extrovert has nothing to do with how hard you work. Like I love putting in the time. I love working hard, but you don't have to fit in a certain mold. The good thing about sales is you can really play off your strengths. And I feel like my strengths are care for my clients. And I love marketing too. There's so many fun ways too, even in a stressful time, that we can be marketing. I mean, for example, one of the best things, there's so many people home right now, and they're all doing home remodeling projects. So why not share with your client database the cost versus remodel statistics on the top remodel projects that people are doing? And I think it's just costvsremodel.org, I think is the, or maybe .com, sorry. But the stats on all the top remodeling projects, I mean, that's totally free. You look it up, you create a marketing piece, send it to your sphere, and they're like, wow, this is great. This is something I can do that helps my home value and gives me something to do while I'm home. The thing like the lasagna, I mean, you don't have to spend that much. I mean, you could literally, I've seen other agents, and I get so many ideas from other agents, I'll be honest with you. They're running around in their car, dropping off masks and gloves, and I'm so in awe of people, and they're not doing it for business. Like, they're truly doing it because they want to be out there helping people.
Yeah, no, it's great. I think, again, if we could kind of sum this all up, that, and you've said it so well, again, that to really think bigger, right? To expand your possibilities. I know there's people that are listening to this right now that wish that they could have the kind of business that you have, Kim. And I don't say that to cause anybody to feel bad or even for you to feel uncomfortable, but it's more to give people hope, to realize, like you said, you don't have to look and act a certain way in order to have success. Success can look a number of different ways, but at the core, if your heart and your actions really say, I take care of people at the highest level, right? And you begin to reach out, how many people can I serve? How many people can I help? In whatever way you typically do, it will work, right? I mean, I think that's such maybe a kind of breath of fresh air for a lot of people who don't feel like they could ever kind of be that, that cold caller, and for some that works for them, for others it doesn't. And so I appreciate you sharing that. I think it's really going to help a lot of people, what you've shared. I know you inspire a lot of people, and you probably don't even know it, but I hear people talking about you and have such good things to say about you and the business that you do, the reputation you have. And so I want to thank you for coming on the Think Bigger Real Estate Show today, for being a big thinker. You're now going to have your face joined to the collage of big thinkers behind me here.
Awesome. Thank you, Justin. I'm so appreciative of just everything you do. I mean, you support us all so much, and it's so much information that you give us. So I'm so appreciative. Thank you.
It's very kind of you. You're welcome, Kim. Thank you so much for that. And again, I want to thank everybody for tuning in today. If you didn't quite get a chance to catch a whole episode, if you want to listen to it again, I would say the best way to do that would be to go find it on your favorite podcast app. Here within the next few days, it'll be up as a podcast. We'll let you know on Facebook that it's up, or on YouTube. You can find it on YouTube. Just search my name or Think Bigger Real Estate. It'll show up either way. So please go find it there, and you'll find a lot of resources to help you really navigate successfully during these unique times that we're all facing. And then my final request of everybody here are 3 simple words, and they are go think bigger. Thank you so much, Kim, for helping us do that today. Appreciate you, my friend.
Thank you, Justin. Have a great one. We'll talk soon.
Okay.